All year long, she sits, she simmers, she waits, alone. She's thinking about what all she's going to do to you when you finally dare to show your face down here again. She's bitter. She's old. She's angry. At you. She's the lady in black.
She sits, she simmers, she broods. No, it's not your ex-girlfriend or your ex-wife. It's Darlington Raceway, the lady in black, getting ready to host the NASCAR Nationwide Series tonight for the 52nd time. Cars rolling out onto the racetrack momentarily. The VFW Sport Clips Help a Hero 200 tonight from Darlington, inviting you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch all the race coverage live from Darlington. 10 HD live race views, live chat, live leaderboard. NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. And among the great onboard views with our ESPN high-definition cameras you will see during the race tonight, Austin Dillon has the AdvoCare on board. Casey Kane with our Great Clips onboard camera. And Regan Smith has our Chevy on board.
If I don't mention it, something happens, I'll feel stupid. The restarts here, you know how they are. They get pretty nuts. I tore the nose off my car last year here. Stuff to help me out as much as you can because I'm pretty blind on them.
Thoughts there from Regan Smith. Also, Sam Hornish Jr. tonight with a Ford EcoBoost on board. Matt Kenseth has the GameStop camera. Joey Logano with the Goodyear on board. Kyle Larson, the Nationwide Insurance camera. And Kyle Busch with the Toyota on board. So when you look at the list of who's won here lately, it's all the Sprint Cup guys with all the experience. Most of them, by the way, driving Joe Gibbs racing machines. Matt Kenseth, the only guy in that streak that wasn't driving a Joe Gibbs car, or at least driving a Joe Gibbs car tonight. Casey Kane hoping to stop that streak and put his Junior Motorsports Chevrolet in victory lane tonight. Casey's our ESPN in-race reporter, and he's already had an interesting day.
Yeah, he has that. Let's talk to him. Hey, Casey, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. We were talking earlier today in the garage area. Something struck me as we talked, as many times as you said, using the throttle, working the throttle, keeping momentum going. Just happened to wonder, did your days driving the sprint car kind of help prepare you for a venue like this?
I don't think it hurt. You know, I think with sprint cars, a lot of times when the track gets slick, you have to really run the throttle to keep your tires hooked up, and that's really similar at this track, and especially the old Darlington and the old Rockingham. But even today, it's starting to really get slippery again. So these long runs tonight, I think the cars will slide around a lot, and hopefully we have good enough throttle control to keep this Great Clips Chevrolet up front.
Casey, our next question comes from our mailbag, and Jake in Nanacoke, Pennsylvania asks, since the repave, has track position become more important than fresh tires late in the race?
I'd say, you know, the old, fresh tires were huge before, and not as much anymore. You can hold them off for a few laps probably, but tires will definitely be a big, old tires compared to new tires will be way better tonight as well. But if you can get a couple rows in between you, someone on the front row could win.
All right, Casey, thanks for talking with us. You have a great evening.
All right, thanks.
Casey Kane got a Darlington stripe on the right side of that car earlier today. His team fixed it up. They are using the original car in the race tonight. Kane's jackman, Eric Ludwig, is carrying our over-the-wall camera tonight. And Eric, if that car comes down pit road with another stripe, how does that affect what you do?
Well, for me personally, it's more of the visual key for the jack stop. Most of the time, either tires or the wall will take the piece of tape off the wall. But also our big factor we have to key into is clearing the fenders for the tires so they don't rub and end up blowing the tire.
Eric, we hope you don't face that situation tonight. Good luck. Have a great night.
Thank you. You have a good night, too.
Eric Ludwig, Jack and Casey Kane's 5-car tonight. Some stories from pit road before the green. Let's start with Dave Burns.
Alan, Kyle Busch was not in this race last year, but he watched it and he gained an updated view of how Darlington's aging new surface is affecting the cars. He'll use that intel tonight to try to win from the pole, just as he did in 2011. Dr. Terry Punch.
Well, here's the bad news for Sam Hornish. After finishing 25th or worse in 2 of the last 3 races, he's no longer the series points leader. But here's the good news. He loves this old racetrack, and they brought that car there that won in Las Vegas, so it could be a good night for Team Penske. Vince Welch.
After falling from 3rd to 7th in points last week at Talladega, Brian Scott needs a bounce-back race here tonight. Unfortunately for Scott, the only bounce has been a bad one. They had a broken spark plug in qualifying. That means Scott's going to be starting at the rear of the field. At some tracks, going from the back to the front isn't that big a deal. Here at Darlington, that's a whole different challenge. Shannon Spake?
Well, Ricky driver Alex Bowman had never been to Darlington until he arrived here on Thursday. In fact, his first laps around the track were in a rental car. Tonight, the goal is to finish the entire race. It's all about experience because Bowman knows that this will be his toughest challenge yet. Alan?
All right, Shannon, thanks. Storylines tonight, Joe Gibbs racing against the field. The Joe Gibbs cars sweeping the top 4 spots in qualifying, and always the biggest story at Darlington, the racetrack itself. Who maneuvers around this crooked old place the fastest and most successfully for 147 laps. That's what it takes to make up the 200-mile distance. Remember the trend for the early caution. Let's see how it all turns out tonight at Darlington. Kyle Busch leads lap 1 with Matt Kenseth close behind.
So Elliott Sadler almost fell all the way back to 4th. I was thinking for teammates to be up there, they weren't giving that guy much of a break, but he was able to get in front of Brian Biggins there in that 3rd spot.
Yeah, you can see how quickly they have to get single file. To make fast laps, especially on fresh tires, you got to have all of the racetrack, and there's not a whole lot there. The groove's right up next to the wall.
Joey Logano, Reed Sorensen, 22-43 side by side. It's back for 13th and 14th. I guess yellow was the popular topic in the paint shops this week because there are a ton of yellow cars in this field.
That's been a special on yellow at the parts store.
Sam Hornish trying to take 7th place away from Justin Allgaier. Sam on the 12.
It's just a matter of how aggressive as a driver you want to get at this point in time of the race. You want track condition, you want to see what your car can do. But this racetrack is still going to go through a pretty big change as we get through this 200-mile race.
And it goes through a big change from the start of the run to the end of the run, too. And that's one of the things the crew chief's listening for. Okay, he's taking notes on how the car is right now. He'll want to know in about 20 or 30 laps what it's doing.
That group right there was side by side through 1 and 2 last time. Regan Smith in the 7 trying to move up on Trevor Bayne in the 6.
Yeah, Regan did not have a very good qualifying run. Had a good car in practice from what I could tell, but he's got a lot of work to do. He's still back in 11th spot.
I love that part about Darlington. When we go on board and you hear how little they crack the throttle in that corner.
Yeah, and after they get about 15 to 20 laps on, we'll hear them really working the throttle a lot, especially in that 1 and 2 area. You'll do it some in 3, but more here, it's just easing back to the throttle till you feel the car underneath you, whichever, if it's the front that you're chasing or the back, and then drive it off the corner.
Yeah, you can see even with fresh, fairly fresh tires, you see the throttle really not getting wide open until the straightaway.
Hornish picks up that spot on Allgaier. That's 7th place for Sam. Team really needing to get back on track after a terrible swing where the championship is concerned for them over the last month or so.
Yeah, you're not talking about a win that they have to have, but they have to have a solid effort. Just something to where they run good and get the finish that they deserve from that.
55-point swing in 3 races. And remember, at basically 1 point per position, Sam's had a tough couple of weeks.
But he also knows if they do their job, that can swing back the other way just as quickly. Like he's got a good car here tonight.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Working Austin Dillon. And Casey Kane just in front of them. Now, when I talked about Casey Kane putting a stripe on that 5 car, that car from the tip of the right front fender to the tip of the right rear fender was smashed up and torn up. And yet the team chose not to bring out the backup car because the tolerances, as Mike Bumgarner, the crew chief, explained to me, on the travels and tolerances and so on these cars are so close, they were better off having imperfect aerodynamics versus starting the race in a backup car they hadn't practiced and made sure nothing was dragging.
That's the thing. That's what they do in practice, is try to get all those travels just exactly right. And it was going to be almost impossible to do that with a backup car. So they know they can get the car fixed. Obviously, it's running good now, so they did a good job of the repair. But they could fix that car and get back out here and be competitive tonight.
Another spot for Sam.
Another spot for Sam. Really aggressive here in the early going. That's what you have to be. When your car's good, you really have to strike them.
Cornish up to 6th position. All this going on behind. Surprise, Kyle Busch leading again. Kyle out in front here at Darlington by some 2 seconds as Joe Gibbs Racing Cars hold the top 4 spots. Kyle Busch in command early here at Darlington Raceway, but very early in the NASCAR Nationwide Series 200-miler tonight. Kyle out in front by 2.5 seconds over a new second-place driver. The number 2 position changed hands during the break. Elliott Sadler going by Matt Kenseth. Look at the gap. The white car is Sadler. And Kyle moving through lap traffic already.
Yeah, Elliott Sadler cut into the lead just a little bit by running some faster laps here. I talked to Elliott after practice. He was really happy with his race car. He just felt like that he had a car that was very capable of winning here tonight.
This is one of the tracks that he loves the most and one of his best tracks, too. Travis Pastrana by Alex Bowman. 99 car dropping back some, Shannon?
Yeah, just a minute ago, Alex Bowman came over the radio and he said that he thinks the motor may be going south. I, of course, spoke about him at the start of the race, this being his first start here at Darlington, and just trying to get experience. So certainly that's something we'll watch for. I'm making my way down pit road now.
And sometimes as a driver here, you can get that feel a little bit. These cars with not as much horsepower, but they're slowing down quite a bit. You haven't been that slow probably since you've been there, so you might think that you've got an engine issue when really you're just not turning very many RPMs because the handling's going away a little bit.
worth keeping an eye on.
Looks like the engine's running fine. I don't know if it is that what you talked about, that change in tone when the motor changes tone when you slow down. Those lap times they're off about 2 seconds right now a lap from what they were from the fastest.
Sam Hornish up to 5th.
You see he'll lose a little bit of time right there. He got turned. That car's turning really good of Sam Hornish in that 12, but it cost him a little bit turning that good over in 1, trying to get off of 2. He didn't have a good angle of getting off of there, but still is able to pull away from Casey Kane just a little bit.
The car is awfully strong in the early going, Doc. Sam is moving up.
Exactly, AB, and as DJ said, it is turning really well, but here's the problem. Sam says the car started to get free in and free up and get a little edgy in the middle of the corner. It's a little early for this car to get that free, because when it cools off, these cars are going to get really free, and Sam may have his hands full. Right now, the car turning well, and he's moving up.
Yeah, the car gets that free. You really could, you could help it moving up just a little bit by not turning the wheel as much, but you know that you've got such a small room of margin for error if you do move that up just a little bit, and if it steps out, then the next thing you're in the wall.
Look at our STP telemetry for Sam Hornish.
Sam's car working good, not all the way up the racetrack, and that's a sign of a good handling car here at Darlington if you can run that, middle to the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4.
Now, we talked about the number of drivers that don't have a lot of experience or any experience here at Darlington. A dozen of them in this race have never run the Nationwide Series race before. This is where it might get interesting for some of the race leaders. Harrison Rhodes in that 23 car. No experience here at Darlington before, and as these faster cars begin to work the traffic, it could get a little dicey.
Yeah, you're battling a race car at a track that's very difficult, and probably a car that's not driving all that well. You don't have the experience. It can get very dicey, and that's where drivers have to give them a little extra room, just like Sam did.
Or you could make some room like Sam did. He went on the apron, like 2 car lengths below.
Here, one on the wall. 24 car, Brian Silas.
Come down, come down.
Looks like there's some contact on the left side of that car. 24.
Some contact with the 6, maybe?
Yeah, possibly.
It looks like a situation.
Quite a bit of damage on that.
Moved up too early, entering the corner, possibly. Didn't see it happen.
Body damage.
It's like maybe he was on the inside, and as they went into 1, there was contact. We'll have to see.
That's a lot of damage on that Trevor Bayne car. So we didn't get the caution in the first 5 laps, but we still got it inside of 25. And Brian Silas, one of those making his debut here at Darlington with that.
Exactly what happened.
Right front. Outside. Outside, caution. Clear.
So it really, requires a lot of give and take, especially into that turn 1. We talked about just how treacherous that corner is.
Yeah. It looked like Trevor really got in there, and his car got loose and had to chase it up the racetrack. And, when you're making these passes, especially at places where it's not a wide part of the racetrack, you have to use a little bit more caution, especially this early in the race.
Pit road open. All the lead lap cars coming in. Vince?
We're going to start with Matt Kenseth. Kenseth started the race in the second row. He's running pretty well, but he says the front tires just aren't working in 1 and 2. Needs more grip and turn in 1 and 2. Not bad in 3 and 4. Shannon?
It's going to be 4 tires for Casey Kane. The car is a little bit tight, but they're going to wait to see how the track changes and how the car comes to him. No changes. Doc.
4 tires. Sam Hornish free in, free out. Going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel. 1.5 rounds left rear air pressure change to kind of tighten him up.
Okay. Leader Kyle Busch, he'll get 4 tires. He'll also get Sunoco fuel. He describes his car as barely tight in the middle of 1 and 2. Just a minor air pressure adjustment for the 54. He'll win the race off of pit road.
Check the numbers. Our Pep Boys race off pit road. Most everybody holding position on this first set of stops. So Kyle Busch has led all the way so far onto the first caution here at Darlington. Not quite 50 miles in. The NBA playoffs continue tomorrow with a pair of Game 3s on ESPN and ABC. First at 5 on ESPN, Kevin Durant leads the Thunder against Zach Randolph and the Grizzlies. Then at 8 on ABC, Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks go on the road to face Paul George and the Pacers. Coverage tips on ESPN at 4:30 with Kia NBA Countdown. That's the hoops tomorrow. Tonight, it's racing from Darlington, and our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. This would be a great place to have that overhead look flying around in the blimp, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Look at the shape of that track. Leads to some things you don't see at a lot of other tracks, like one of the lead lap cars tangling with one of the lap down cars.
Right here in front, right in front, right in front, right in front. Outside, outside, outside. Outside, caution. Caution, caution. Clear, clear, clear. Nice job, Trevor.
Well, that was Trevor Bayne and Brian Silas involved in that incident. You can see the damage to the 24 car. Pretty significant and still being addressed on pit road. Kyle Busch, Elliott Sadler for the restart. Matt Kenseth gets second from Sadler. And here comes Hornish again.
If Vickers is going to try a crossover move right here that we talked about in the opening, not time to do that right yet. He's saving that. Actually, Hornish wouldn't give him any room to even try it, so it didn't matter if he wanted to or not.
It's pretty well defended.
Yes, good pass by Sam Hornish there.
Put Sam up to fourth. Started back in ninth. 32, Larson way out by the wall, and here comes Casey Kane. He's pretty aggressive.
Vickers. Yeah, Brian Vickers is pretty loose right now, and I'm seeing the same thing with Elliott Sadler, it looks like, too, who's up in third right now.
Well, look at that move. You see Casey Kane going completely to the apron.
Vickers back to sixth. Austin Dillon behind him in the 3, and Kyle Larson in the 32. Wow, Vickers is hanging on there, isn't he? Justin Allgaier, 31, trying to get a spot from his teammate Larson. 8th and 9th place. Brian Scott, 16 Chris Buescher, and others getting by Travis Pastrana in the 60. Looked like Travis had a little difficulty with that last set of corners.
And all you have to do is just not be able to get back to the throttle just a little bit coming off the corner, and they'll start filing by you in a hurry, and there's just nothing you can do except take that and get back in line while you can.
Watching that 20 car for Brian Vickers and see if maybe as the laps wind and the air pressures build and all that kind of thing, it's settling down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if their air pressure or their
trouble. Turn 4. Sorry, DJ, got a car on the wall. Eric McClure. And obviously caution is out for a second time.
Minimum damage to the right rear.
Eric was in 27th spot. I wonder if the rear end's knocked out of that car, Andy.
Yeah, he's got a flat tire, so it's hard to tell right now exactly what he's got going on. Definitely have to rearrange the sheet metal on the right rear corner. There's not a lot of room to work here at this track, and you get side by side, it takes so much give and take. You see, you got one car in the wall, and Eric McClure looked like he was trying to get down below that car, but it's just not enough grip.
23 of Harrison Rhodes was the car scraping along the wall. Eric had just taken the wave around to get back on the lead lap at that last caution. And now he's got some damage to be fixed. Trevor Bayne choosing to pit on this caution.
We're going to see some of these cars take this opportunity to fix some of the damage from this crash and the one earlier. I don't think you'll see any of the leaders come down pit road, though.
Well, not immediately, because pit road's closed. One of the cars being hooked up to a tow truck on the pit lane. And so until they get that wrecker that's on the pit road off that, we will keep the pit road closed for a second. Doc, what's up?
I'm just talking about Trevor Bayne. They came in, and as Andy and DJ can tell you, there's the patch on the right rear quarter panel. And even though it's only a mile and a third racetrack here, aerodynamics are important, particularly that air buffering off the wall. And a huge hole in the right rear of the car, so they wanted to try to put that quarter panel over. They'll come back in, add some pop permits, add some tape, try to get it secured, to try to give him a little cushion on the right rear.
Yeah, they still have a little work to do on that one.
Yeah, you need all the down force, side force, any kind of forces you can get to give you grip here.
Let the force be with you?
Yes.
Okay. So pit road's still closed. We'll take a break. Caution for the second time tonight at Darlington. Kyle Busch has been the one out front the most. Winning at Darlington is a big deal for any driver, but when you can win and lead every single lap in a race, you've done a day's work. That's Jeff Burton aboard that 9 car for Jack Roush and his race team, leading every lap and winning here at Darlington a few years back. And as we come back live to Darlington and get ready to go back for the restart, you see a couple names on that list that have led every lap and won a Nationwide Series race. Dale Jarrett, there's Jeff Burton. And they're 2 of the 4 that are in our ESPN broadcast booth right now. We've got a 4-time Darlington winning crew chief, Andy Petrie, a 5-time Darlington winning driver, Dale Jarrett, and a 6-time Darlington winning driver, Jeff Burton. Thanks for joining us.
It's good to be here. This is, to me, this is the coolest racetrack we go to all year long, and to watch them race under the lights here is really cool. And you're going to see a lot more action. It's coming, so I'm glad to be here to talk about it.
Restart's pretty hairy at this place, right?
Oh yeah, that's passing in general is difficult here, and restarts are crazy because you got to get them. You got to get those spots when they're right there in front of you. So you see people be very aggressive.
A lot of young guys in this field. You remember the first time you came here and tried to negotiate this place?
I do, and I was scared. I won't lie about it. It was quite an experience.
Get ready for restart. Jeff's going to join us for the race for a little while and look forward to hearing his thoughts as we go. Our green flag restart presented by Scott's. Kyle Busch, this time with Matt Kenseth to his outside. There's that push we talked about, Andy.
Yeah, to see if it'll work for Elliott Sadler. He lost that spot on the last restart. He was in that position. He takes it from Matt Kenseth.
Repaying the favor in those first two on the start of the race. See a little contact back there. Like Travis Pastrana maybe and Nelson Piquet, I believe there.
You know, this is just when everybody's got to go get some. I mean, this is the time. You get in front of a guy now, it might take him 20 laps to get back by you. So you just got to be aggressive and make it happen right now.
Sixth place here. Casey Kane 5, Kyle Larson 32.
You know, back in the day, that didn't happen. If somebody got under you like that, you just give them the spot. But today, they just race. And it's fun to watch, but you wonder how long they can get by without wrecking.
So when you're racing now, do you have to change your mindset then as to what you're doing?
It's more aggressive today because people don't, you get underneath a guy today, get into turn one. It used to be that was just your spot, and now the fight's just started, and people just don't give like they used to give.
So got 31 cars on the lead lap. Stories of the day, if you just joined us, Kyle Busch has basically led all the laps so far. We've had a couple of cautions. One set of pit stops for the leaders. Sam Hornish has been one of the fastest cars moving up through traffic. And we watch Austin Dillon try and grab a spot from Casey Kane. That'd be 7th place.
To me, that's another thing that's so unique about this racetrack is in this end of the racetrack, everybody runs the same groove. There's really only one place to run. You can see Austin running a little lower than Casey, but watch down here. They run two completely different grooves. You got Austin on the bottom, you got Casey on the top. There's so many options in 3 and 4 that you really don't have. I mean, here's two guys that run the same speed around the racetrack in two completely different grooves.
Jeff, one of the crew chiefs in the Nationwide garage earlier today was talking about how much the racetrack has aged in a year's time. When it was repaved in 2008, it completely changed the racing at Darlington, if you will, increasing the speeds. Now, a few years later, we're maybe beginning to see some of the gray creep back into the lady in black.
I think it's coming back. I think, look at Austin. He's on the apron. I mean, literally on the apron. If you did that, 5 years ago, you're going around. I mean, you just couldn't do that. So as the track has aged, the new pavement, I think the reason you can run that apron is because it's not worn out as much as what the groove is. So the speeds are starting to fall off. You can still lay a real fast lap time down, but you're going to lose a lot of pace as the run goes on, like we used to see in Darlington. We're not to that point yet where we lose that much time, but it's creeping there.
I think this is the last race we're going to talk about, the new pavement at Darlington, because it is coming back. I watched it when I first came the other day. That's the first thing I looked at to see what the color of the racetrack was, and I say that this is the transition race. It's going to be the old Darlington next year.
I agree with that. I really do. I think that, it's been paved for a long time, and this asphalt's lasted longer from a grip standpoint, way longer than I remember. We came here, and actually Ward sat on a pole and with the new asphalt, and then like 2 races later, it was like 2 seconds off, and we just haven't seen that with this pavement, but it's starting to get there.
How about the rally so far for Brian Scott in that 2? Had a problem during qualifying under the hood of that car. They had to go to the back because it's an impound race in the Nationwide Series. Every race, they had to go under the hood and make an adjustment. He's come from the back of the field all the way up to 14th. Vince, that's pretty solid work by Brian Scott and that team.
It is indeed, and they've just encouraged him to stay patient. Tough to do sometimes, especially when you're coming from the back, but he's got a good race car. Really liked it that first run. Said it was a little snug, but they didn't make any changes to it, just 4 tires.
Now, we understand it was a spark plug that they had that went wrong in qualifying. We saw the same thing with one of the RCR cars at Talladega with Austin Dillon. Is that a problem that RCRs in general are having with these spark plugs, or are you worried about that?
I wasn't until you brought that up.
Maybe you
Jeff starting 11th tomorrow night here at Darlington. That's a pretty solid qualifying run.
Yeah, we're happy with it. That's honestly, I didn't do as good of a job as I needed to. You can see Sam; he's still making his run toward the front. And this is, to me, well, maybe he's not making his run to the front. But I didn't do as good of a job driving as I needed to, but we're happy with where we're starting.
Ryan Vickers, who started in the top 4, moving back into the top 4 after slipping back a little bit after the opening pit stop. How about the 20, Dave?
His car wouldn't turn, Alan, on that first run, so they took a big swing by Darlington standards. They took a spring rubber out of the left rear, and it was really, really loose at the start of the last run. So they asked Brian to be patient. The car will come to you, and that's happening now as he got around Sam.
There's somebody I see right behind these two, though, and Kyle Larson. He's done a good job, really solid, right there in 6th spot. First start here. I saw the start of the race. He kind of just fell back a little bit. Really smart, not went out there pushing it in those first few laps, but now it's starting to pay off for him.
He's our sports potential next superstar. You know, he runs well everywhere he goes. Wherever he sits in, he goes fast in. Everybody's looking at him. I'm sure his phone's ringing from having people wanting to talk to him about driving cars. And this guy right here is probably we'll see him in a Cup car sooner than later.
Of course, under contract to Chip Ganassi as a development driver, placed with this Turner Scott team for this season. And Shannon, right now, another solid night.
Absolutely, and the team used one of the tests for nationwide drivers here at Darlington to prepare Kyle for this race. He actually turned just under 200 laps in over 2 days, 8 hours on the racetrack. And Trent Owens, his crew chief, told me it took a very short period of time to get up to speed. Sometimes it takes rookies a long time to get the feel here at Darlington. After a couple of hours, Kyle had it. The car's just a little bit loose for him here tonight.
Whoop, trouble, got one in trouble down on the apron. Elliott Sadler.
Yellow's out, get going. Did you hit anything? No.
Well, that's hard to do here.
Not hit anything?
When you're spinning.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy, was he? No. Short answers are normally not happy. They're normally followed by a lot of words.
You back up a little bit.
Just got loose.
Wow, that's close. Oh, that's close.
Nice save.
Matt gets a good look at
out
this.
front, bud. Keep digging. No caution yet.
As you hear this story, loose is fast. That's a lie. You can't run loose here. You've got to have the back of your car hooked up. This place is just brutal to try to run loose.
Yeah, and I thought Elliott was one of those cars that looked like it might be loose on the restarts with the air pressures and things down, but it was kind of coming to him, but obviously it was still a little bit too much on that loose side.
He didn't lose a lot of spots here.
No.
I mean, you look at it where he ended up. You spin at Darlington and lose, 7 or 8 spots. That was pretty remarkable.
Problem's going to be, is everybody else going to come get tires? They've already used, this would be 2 sets in the first 50 laps here.
I think they get 4 though.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's coming.
Always get one long green run in these races at Darlington usually, and all the crew chiefs have probably plotted out all the numbers.
And then it gets wild.
Yeah. Pit stop round number 2 at lap 51, Vince.
Matt Kenseth in that 18 getting happier with his car. He says it's better in 1 and 2, but still needs a little more grip. It's going to be a 4-tire change and an air pressure adjustment. Doc.
Sam Horning said the car's jumped loose again. Again, they're going to make another adjustment. Air pressure, 1 down, left rear track bar, 4 tires, and fill it up with some fuel. Dave Burns.
Brian Vickers in the 20, very loose. As we discussed, they will make changes for him in 4 tires. Kyle Busch doesn't like his car right now either. They're going to make a fairly significant chassis adjustment on the left side of the car. That'll be a wedge adjustment and a 4-tire stop for the leader. We'll see if he can hold station on pit road as he did last time. Casey Kane will actually go by. So Kyle losing at least 1 position during this round. He'll lose some more, guys.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Look at Casey Kane getting right sides.
And 5 positions lost for Kyle Busch on the pit stop. So Elliott Sadler running second, spins, doesn't hit anything, picks back up in 11th place. Now just had a chance to work on his car a little bit. Darlington Raceway, South Carolina, NASCAR Nationwide Series racing on a Friday night. It is an 81-degree evening here in South Carolina as we watch the cars double up for the restart. Remind you that you can check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch all the coverage tonight live from Darlington with 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard, NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. So Kyle Busch, leading the entire race so far, finds himself lined up 6th for this restart because of something that happened on his pit stop.
Yeah, you can see right here the pit crew on the right side, pretty clean. As they come around to the left side, the jack man slips. You can see just loses his footing. But boy, did that cost him a lot on this pit stop. You see the tire changers get around there pretty quick, get their work done, but they can't get those tires off till the car comes up.
Got to get the jack position, get the handle locked, and then go back to work.
Yeah, covered pretty well, but lost a few spots.
So Casey Kane, the new leader, chooses the outside lane for this restart. Matt Kenseth to his inside.
2 tires on Casey. I'm not so sure how that's going to work. I'm not, everybody at the Cup Garage is watching. I just have a hard time believing 2 tires is going to be the way to go here.
2 tires and choosing the outside on top of that. Let's see how that works out.
Look at him stick on the outside of Matt Kenseth off of 2.
Situation like that, Jeff, you have to be a little careful not to overdrive the car.
Yeah, you just gotta. What's hard about this right now is you're racing everybody, but you can only go as fast as your car will go. But you try to set your pace off of those guys with 4 tires, and you tend to overdrive your car. Now, the 2 tires may work great. I just would be really surprised if they do from what I saw in practice today.
And we'll see how quickly, if at all, Kyle Busch can make his way back to the lead.
That's the apron.
Yeah.
That's all 4 tires on the apron. And that's just incredible that you can do that.
Jeff Burton joining us tonight as he watches a 6-time Darlington winner, 4 times in the Nationwide Series, starting 11th tomorrow night.
Jeff, when you have something happen like Kyle Busch and this crew had there, you know things are going to happen occasionally, but it's a little easier to take when you know you've got a fast race car, right?
It is, but it also makes you madder almost because, you're out front, everything's easy, you're where you want to be, 3 wide, you're where you want to be, and you don't want to be behind that. But I bet you what you're not hearing from him is patience. We've been hearing that word, patience, patience. He now feels like he can't be patient. I got to go. I had the lead, I got to go get it back. So you're going to see Kyle be really aggressive here and try to get those spots back. I guarantee you his car's not going to drive as well right now as it did when he was out front. He's going to have issues he didn't have before. And if you go back and think about it, he wasn't happy with his car anyway, even though he had a several second lead. So all that stuff's going to add up, and we'll see how they respond to it.
So Kyle up to 4th. And trying to catch Regan Smith now for 3rd place.
Yeah, it's amazing. Championship teams, how they do good things and it kind of builds momentum. They picked up 4 spots with Regan Smith on the last pit exchange. So when you're doing good things, it just kind of compounds in a good way to where you have a lot of things going your way. And Regan obviously loves this racetrack too.
Yeah, he's really good here. He's really good here.
I don't think this sport's any different than any other sport. Momentum is momentum, and it carries through on every facet. Pit crew, everybody.
Casey's hanging there well with his 2 tires. We'll see, after 20 laps here. So if we get that long green flag run here, we'll see what happens. But right now, it looks like a good move.
Casey Kane running 2nd, Regan Smith 3rd in the 7, Kyle Busch 4th in the 54. Eric McClure was the free pass at that last caution. Don't think I mentioned that before we went back racing, but I did now.
But you think about the 5 car here. What do they have to lose? Yeah. They didn't really show the strength to win the race. So do something. Give yourself that's tight. Give yourself a shot. Get that track position. See what you can do. What the heck? I mean, that's one of the advantages of being a Cup driver that people don't give enough credence to. If you're not racing for points, and this doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. You're going to race tomorrow. Regan Smith can't think like that. The other 3 guys he's racing with can. That is a huge advantage for the Cup guys.
Now that spot as a driver, Jeff and DJ, when you got that guy to your inside going to turn 1 and you need to give, but you can't give too much because the guy in the yellow car there is going to take advantage if you do. That's got to be dicey.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm sure that it's probably changed. Luke probably can drive it off a little further in that corner than when I remember the old racetrack. So, Jeff, it's still that's kind of the same thing. You're willing to give that 1 spot, but you don't want to give that 2nd one like Alan saw.
Yeah, exactly, and that's that goes back to those restarts. You can't just lift and give a guy a break because you're going to give 8 of them a break, and every spot is so important. When you think about these cars, they're all running the same speed, and when you get in front of a guy, you're in front of him, and it's very difficult to pass, especially at a track like this where it's kind of a one-groove track. So you just can't pull over and let them go, even though sometimes getting into 1, that's really the smarter thing to do, but you're just scared to do it because you may not ever get that spot back.
tough old Darlington Raceway, still a challenge, even with today's equipment, and especially at today's speeds. Matt Kenseth answering the challenge best at this stage of the race, but still a lot of racing to go tonight. Not even quite to halfway. Back live at Darlington, NASCAR Nationwide Series action on the track Too Tough to Tame. And this is the race for the lead. Remember, Kyle Busch has led most of the race so far, kicked back to 6th place on the last set of pit stops when the Jackman slipped and fell coming around the car. And still having to work the wheel and gas pedal hard inside this machine as he charges up to 2nd.
Yeah, nobody's riding around right now. This track, just requires a lot of work. And, Kyle's got the fastest car on the racetrack, but you can see he's working the wheel. He's getting all there is, and that's the only way you can go faster. You got to attack this racetrack. You can't ride around. You got to attack it. Of course, when you do attack it, you might hit something, but there's only one way to go fast here.
Update on the 54 from Dave.
And guys, a solution, really, there isn't one for Jackman David O'Dell. When he goes around the car the next time, he's just going to have to tiptoe and be more careful. Any flat surface down here collects sand and dust from the ambient air in the area, but then when you take off the left front tire, you also throw brake dust on the ground. That's what he slipped in, and so he's just got to be more careful the next time he goes around the car.
And you've done that job.
Oh, well, I've not been a jackman, but I've been a tire changer, and I can tell you that footing is always an issue. And grip, we talk about the lack of grip on the racetrack. When you have a lack of grip on the pit stall, it does hurt. I mean, I've actually sprained an ankle trying to make those turns real quick, and like you said, there's only one way you can do it. You just got to make sure that your feet are under you.
Another Darlington stripe, perhaps, just passed out. Could be on that car, Travis Pastrana.
I'm not sure if this is the first time he's touched that wall today, but got a good piece of it that time.
That's a pretty good hit right there.
Yeah. Was in 16th place, lost 1 spot for that. Elliott Sadler trying to gain spots. Remember Elliott running second when he spun out at lap 50 in turn 2, dropped back to 11th at the time. He's picked up now 2 positions. Check that 1 and trying to get a second spot.
It just shows the difficulty of this racetrack. He's got a fast race car, but just can't seem to make his way back forward. Competition's tough out there, Dave.
DJ, it is, and on that first run of the night, Elliott's car was just a little bit tight, but they knew that the track was going to sort of self-adjust their race car. It was going to free it up, so they made only a minor air pressure adjustment, but that's what led to his spin. It made him so loose, he couldn't control it and eventually spun out.
Well, it's interesting to me how you watch these nationwide races, and everybody talks about being loose every single week. And I know fans say, why don't you just tighten them up? But drivers are terrified of getting too tight, because when you're too tight, you can't make any lap time. When the car is pushing, you just can't do anything. At least when it's loose, you can get a little bit of, you can put some wheel in it, you can drive it, and you just can't tighten it up and make the thing push.
Yeah, I was talking about that very thing with Elliott Sadler today, and he was telling me how with these cars, he was saying with the Cup cars, with all the horsepower, you can get in the gas and make those cars rotate some. He said you can't do that with these cars and the limited amount of horsepower that they have. So you have to run those things so free, and sometimes it bites you. You see Kyle trying to take the lead. Yeah, he thought about that 3-wide deal.
He did.
I wonder if he was being nice to a teammate there. It was a wise move. I just wonder if he'd have done that if it wouldn't have been a teammate.
And that lap car there that they were trying to get around.
That's what's so hard, too. These guys are racing hard, and they're catching the lap cars at such a high rate. The key is timing all that right. If you time that wrong and you catch that lap car at the wrong time, the guy at second is going to blow by you, and you might not ever get by him. I think it's clear that Kyle has a little faster car, but he's gotten to Kenseth, and he can't do anything with it. And Matt's going to do everything he can to make sure he doesn't get in front of him, because he might not ever get back. So this is hard racing right now, because you can't let the guy go.
I'm really impressed with Casey Kane on these 2 tires.
I'm shocked.
I am too. I didn't think this would hold up nearly as well as it has so far for him.
So each standing here watching this, would that be something you would entertain the thought of tomorrow night?
Every Cup driver, every Cup crew chief is watching this and wondering. You see Travis having to pit after he got the wall. I thought that was a hard impact.
A lot of damage there, Shannon.
Yeah, Travis Pastrana, what a tough day so far. I mean, he really wanted to stay out there and stay on the lead lap. The goal was to get to lap 130 and then try to make a run for it, of course, coming off that race last week in Talladega where it was just a heartbreaker for the 60 team. But as you can see, some major cosmetic damage to the 60 car, and he didn't have a stripe all day, guys.
Well, he didn't hit it just once. He hit it twice. That was after the first one. Then he tried to get to the pit road, and
that's not the way to do it.
Missed the commitment goal.
After you hit the wall with them, they don't drive quite as well. And, got a battle for the lead here again.
How hard do you think Matt should try to hold off Kyle here?
This is a short race. Yeah. I mean, it's lap 80 of 147. I think he needs to race him. I think he needs to try to stay in front of him.
And the thing that I see with Matt, he's giving Kyle plenty of room, but it's all on the inside there. Matt is not giving up that outside at all.
Well, here's two obviously two great race car drivers going at it. It looks like Kyle's car is just a touch better, but Matt's got the spot. And I think Matt's thinking, I can't get him the spot. I got to stay in front of him. Let my pit crew, if I come on pit road and my pit crew does as well as his, I'm going to leave with the lead. And it's a huge advantage to be in first versus second. So I think Matt's going to race him hard.
Yeah, you can see the advantage because Kyle's just not, you can see his car's not nearly as good as it was when he had that clean air when he was leading. He could lead by a couple of
seconds. This could cost him right here, though. Just what you were talking about, Jeff.
That's so hard.
Timing that.
Yeah, Matt really didn't do anything wrong. It's just he got there and he almost had to stop, slow way down in the middle of the corner and just wait. But if you do that, and Kyle jumps underneath you, so sometimes it's just nothing good comes out of it. He's going to fight him back though.
That was Tony Raines in that 70 car, so not far from a rookie driver with an underfunded team.
Well, and Tony didn't do anything wrong. It's what do you do? I mean, it's kind of when you have a slow car, you can't hide at this racetrack. And I don't think Tony did anything wrong either. It was just the circumstances.
And you might say, why didn't he just turn it left? But that's easier said than done, too.
Yeah. So Kyle Busch rallies back to the lead after the problem back on the pit stop at lap 51. It took him 30 laps to get back from 6th to 1st. Hey, Jeff, thanks for coming up. We really appreciate your insights and really wish you the best of luck tomorrow night trying to go back to victory lane.
Thank you. Enjoyed having me. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to seeing the end of this race. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Welcome to hang out all you want. It's a good view from up here. Jeff Burton, driver of the Caterpillar Chevrolet, starting 11th tomorrow night here at Darlington. Kyle Busch, after Matt Kenseth was picked back to the lead. Looking down on the leader, Kyle Busch, having contact with Mike Wallace, who he's trying to put a lap down at Darlington Raceway. As we bring you our aerial coverage from DirecTV, if you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Certainly an interesting look at an interesting moment as Matt Kenseth now makes a run up to Kyle Busch.
Yeah, just right back again to what got Kyle Busch the lead of not being able to, Matt Kenseth not being able to catch the traffic at the right spot. This has allowed Matt to get right back to his bumper again. That was a really close call for Kyle Busch there.
Yes, it was. I just wonder if they did any damage to the right front fender of that 54 car in any significant way, too.
Getting loose on the straightaway. I don't know what's going on. Do not dismount these tires till you check them. If you don't see one loose, it was so bad.
Brian Vickers pitting from third under green. Dave?
You heard him, Alan. He just had a really, really bad vibration. He asked the crew if they got all the lug nuts tight. He got thumbs up all the way around, but he wants him to check. The vibration was just so bad he couldn't stand it, which is a shame because the overall balance of the car had been improved and Brian was picking up positions, but he couldn't stand the vibration any longer, so they hit pit road. They will change floor and send it back out with full of Sunoco fuel as well.
Yeah, that's just a better driver for you. He knows it's a problem. Even if they say, hey, all the tires, wheels are tight, hey, I'm coming in. Something's wrong. He's not going to stay out there till something breaks, and then his night's over.
So what Brian needs now is for this race to stay under green until a cycle of green flag pit stops begins.
Yeah, it never does, though. I can tell you. Right when you need it to go green, it won't stay there.
All right, let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and check in on some of our front runners. Dave is covering Kyle Busch.
And he wouldn't mind a pit stop right now to change his race car. Listen to what he said a few laps ago.
just what you need, manage it.
Really bad loose, really bad. Everywhere. Entry, center, turn it down. All the way.
Oh boy, but he's still in the lead. The car is very, very fast, but Kyle wants an adjustment to be a perfect race car. Vince?
Well, and that 18 of Matt Kenseth, who's chasing Kyle Busch, is also fighting loose. In fact, Kenseth said it's a 5 loose in 1 and 2, a 3 loose in 3 and 4 on that 10 scale. They've got 20 laps till they pit, so he's got to hold on. Shannon?
Well, the name of the game today for Regan Smith has been all about track position, guys. He started the race 11th, not a great qualifying effort. They had that great pit stop on the last stop. They got him up to 5th, and right now he is just smooth sailing. The car has been very good, not behind all of those cars when he's not in all that traffic. Now, as far as Casey Kane, what an eventful day for this team. He hit the wall hard in practice. They were able to fix that car up as far as cosmetic damage, but about 25 laps ago, he came over the radio and said his temperatures were very high. They saw some debris on that front grille. It was able to blow off, and right now the handling is going from loose to tight to loose, so this car is all over the place for Casey Kane. Jake?
Elliott Sadler runs 5th, Shannon, after restarting 11th. He ran 2nd most of the night, but remember, brought out the caution with a spin on lap 49. Right now, he says his car is a little tight past center, but he knows that he's one of those Gibbs cars that if he gets back up front, he can challenge for the lead. Doc?
And haven't heard much from last year's winner of this race. There's a 22 car, Joey Logano. Joey's battling a tight race car much of the first part of the race. Made adjustments, the car was still tight. Finally came in, took air out of both front tires. The car started to take off. Now he said the car's done a little bit loose, but now going back to neutral. But Joey Logano is on the move. Alan.
All right, Doc, thanks. So an update on some of the contenders to win. There's still plenty of laps to go, though, tonight here in Darlington. 50 left when leader Kyle Busch comes back around to the start-finish line. We'll see at least 1, maybe 2 more rounds on pit road. Oh, and by the way, at this track, we always get the late caution and that wild scramble to the finish, too.
The laps are just ticking away here in Darlington, South Carolina. We're about 45 to go with Kyle Busch still out front. Major League Baseball on ESPN Sunday night at 8. Mike Trout leads the Angels against the White Sox. Then Monday night at 7, David Wright and the Mets face Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. Now, if you are just joining us here, here's the Ram race rundown. We said this earlier, you have to respect the track because of the Darlington stripe, and a number of drivers have already run into trouble.
Oh gosh, there are many guys clobbering the wall. I mean, just they can't keep off it. You see them all night long. You see the 14 in the wall there to 23. Now watch Trevor Bayne. He gets in there too deep. He got in the wall. Travis Pastrana, he really clobbered the wall. And Brad, they won't stop clobbering the wall.
Elliott Sadler's in trouble after all 4 JGR cars started 1, 2, 3, 4. He goes around all on his own.
Yeah, really surprising. Even though Elliott's bounced back and he's currently running 4th, thought he was going to make his way back towards the front. He early on challenged Kyle Busch a little bit, but surprising spin, but no harm. He's back in the mix.
So right now it's Kyle Busch, followed by Matt Kenseth, Regan Smith, Elliott Sadler, Casey Kane. They round out your top 5. We had said at the end of Countdown that we had a few things that we'd be watching tonight. One of them was the stripe and the need to respect the track. The other one, the aggressive veterans, and obviously we're seeing that with Kyle Busch and some of the lap times he's putting up right now.
Well, I'll tell you, Kyle's doing a great job because, you know, he had that jack problem when they made that pit stop. He got behind, he drove that car up the front, but I got to tell you, man, I've watched him come off of turn 4 or 5 times now with that right rear bumper clearing that wall maybe about an inch.
Oh, I've seen that too, Rusty.
Barely touching, like right there.
Yeah, he's really flirting with it, but we've seen those aggressive veterans as well. Elliott Sadler's another example of that. Guy spinning a race car, one of the veterans who knows this track very well, maybe getting a little bit too aggressive.
I can tell you that the intensity is starting to heat up right now with 41 laps to go. When they make their next pit stop, don't leave your TV set because all heck's getting ready to break.
Game on, right then. Game on.
I do want to call out what we had as our 3rd item on the list. And we said there are 12 drivers in this race tonight that had never before raced at Darlington, including our 2 Rookie of the Year candidates, Kyle Larson in the 32, Alex Bowman in the 99. Right now, Bowman is in 17th, but Larson running in the top 10. He's 9th.
Well, he's doing a great job. And Nicole, I think one thing that helped him, he was down here testing and hit the wall.
Yep, got that stripe.
Got that stripe, and he went, ooh, I know how far I can go right now. And I think that put a little respect into Kyle. But he's used to running loose race cars on dirt tracks, and I've been watching his line all night long. He's right up against that wall.
40 to go, the 99 coming down pit road. Green flag stops starting, Alan.
Alex Bowman in, as we have been under green since the pit stops at lap 51. Elliott Sadler, others all coming in. Vince?
Loose. That's the problem for Matt Kenseth. They've been chasing it the entire way. They've got to get it tightened up. It's a little worse in 1 and 2 than 3 and 4. 4 tires and chassis adjustment. Shannon.
Alex Bowman been fighting a tight race car this entire race. One of the rookies in the field. His goal was to finish the complete race, get all the experience that he can. He is doing a great job so far. Another guy in the field, not a rookie, Casey Kane. He's certainly one of the veterans, working those 2 tires on this last long run. The car has gone from loose to tight. The balance is all over the place. They did make some small adjustments. Dave.
Elliott Sadler up to 4th on this run. He's already gone. A 4-tire change for the car that needed more right rear grip.
Watching Kyle Busch on the right come down onto that tricky entrance to the pit lane here at Darlington, while Austin Dillon, Sam Hornish, Kyle Larson, and more are in, Doc.
Austin Dillon will get 4 tires. They will pull a tear off out, try to get it full of Sunoco fuel. He says the car really free up off, but opting not to make a chassis change. Slight air pressure only. In front of him is the 12 car. Sam Hornish said the car is so free under throttle in turns 1 and 2, he almost hits the wall every time. Air pressure, chassis adjustment, 4 tires and away. Dave.
Kyle Busch, the leader of 78 laps already today. He's back where he wants to be, but he's got to hit pit road for adjustments. You see the wrench going in. It'll be a track bar adjustment. He called possibly for a wedge adjustment as well. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. A 4-tire change for Kyle. Shannon.
Car in, Joey Logano. They took air out of the left front. Joey said the car just absolutely would not turn. He wanted a slight air pressure adjustment and the tire change. He's away.
The 2 car of Brian Scott is on pit lane as well. Remember, Scott's team had to change a spark plug after qualifying, so he started at the rear of the field, worked his way up to about 15th. Car's been loose throughout most of the evening. 4 tires, they made a track bar adjustment as well on that 2 car.
So the cycle is completed, and Kyle Busch will hold the lead through that very quick set of green flag pit stops. And there's the gap. Kyle Busch back to Matt Kenseth, first to second. 36 laps to go in Darlington. Kyle Busch has been dominant tonight. The NASCAR Nationwide Series VFW Sport Clips Help a Hero 200 tonight at Darlington. Inviting you to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. You're looking at Kyle Busch, the race leader, who's been out in front tonight for 85 of the 117 laps that have been completed to this point. Matt Kenseth running second. Joe Gibbs Racing's 4 cars started in the first 4 spots. And despite troubles for both Vickers and Sadler, Joe Gibbs Racing's cars are running in the first 4 spots. Got a car down low on the apron, turn 1. Shower of sparks.
To the garage, Kyle.
Kyle Fowler. And the caution has come out, which makes things very interesting.
Yeah, these leaders don't have too many laps since they made that green flag stop. That's a pretty hard lick for
piece of Bowman there.
Barely gets by. See the deck lid off.
Kyle Fowler hit pretty good.
Yeah, he'd hit off of turn 2 earlier, too.
And his car at rest down up against the inside wall at the exit of turn number 2. Kyle was 39th and a number of laps down. And so the question, first of all, break for Brian Vickers here.
Yeah, he'll definitely make a pit stop here because he made that unscheduled stop. He's got a lot of laps on his tires. But the other leaders, I'm just looking at, Kyle Busch has only got like 9 or 10 laps of green flag racing on his tires. Boy, I tell you, fresh tires will come in handy with 28 to go.
Yeah, a few laps to decide this because with that car being down, still down below over there, they'll wait till that's cleaned up before they open pit road.
Yep, because that's where the cars will have to exit through once they've gotten their service done.
These are those decisions that's kind of a gamble either way. If you make a pit stop, you're gambling that your tires are going to give you enough speed and enough guys will do the same thing that you can be on the same strategy.
Well, one thing probably swinging the pendulum toward making the stop, the number of cars on the lead lap has been cut down a pretty good bit by that long green flag run we just had.
Yeah, that does make the decision easier.
Didn't say it makes the decision,
but it does.
Absolutely,
it really
but
does.
It does make it easy.
Factors in for sure, though. It would actually make me want to make a pit stop, especially, I mean, Kyle Busch is in the toughest spot, obviously, because he's out there leading with the best car.
Austin Dillon saving fuel.
Let me tell you what their decision might be. It really shouldn't be an issue.
No,
yeah, that's what I'm sitting here running those numbers in my head saying, okay, that's not it.
I think a lot of these drivers have just gotten in that automatic mode of when you're under caution.
If he comes, will he pull the rest of them down? Should we come? No, not with 8 laps here. I don't think so. Kansas has 11. I don't know, man. 2 tires held on so good.
You can see, this is not an easy decision.
Pit road's open. Top 2 are in. There's one of them made the right turn to stay back out. We'll check it in a second, Vince.
Well, the 18 of Kenseth really debating with crew chief Matt Lucas about whether to come or not, but they've got to be more snug. Matt says it's just way too loose. 4 tires and a wedge adjustment for the 18 of Kenseth. Shannon?
Kyle Larson decided to come down pit road. The original call was for 4 tires, but as he was making his way down to his pit stall, the call was for 2. So they're going to go with 2 tires. Dave.
Remember, Brian Vickers, upper right, pitted on lap 90, so he really needed to come down pit road. He'll take 4. Also, the 54 of Kyle Busch, they re-debated the situation and decided that they needed to pit mainly because Kyle wanted the car to be tightened up a little more so he could win this race.
Interesting. A couple stayed out, Joey Logano and Austin Dillon. A couple took 2 tires. The plot thickens. Restart in 1 more lap as we get down to the finish here at Darlington, and an interesting round of strategy has just played out that shuffled up the running order. Casey Kane, one of the drivers just off the pit lane. His Jackman is carrying our over-the-wall camera tonight. Nice work, Eric Ludwig. Casey finds himself back in 9. So, 2 drivers didn't pit. Joey Logano, Austin Dillon share the front row for the restart. Logano is the leader. He's chosen the outside line. Elliott Sadler, 11, took right side tires on his stop, as did Kyle Larson in 32. You saw Kyle Busch there in row 2. He's the guy that's dominated tonight. 23 laps to go. Let's see how it turns out. Kyle got the second quickly. Now he's working on Joey Logano for the race lead. Sam Hornish with the big crossover move back in the pack. Matt Kenseth getting shuffled.
This is the time when things really get interesting, start stacking up over there on turn 2 as drivers try to take everything they possibly can.
I think Matt Kenseth was going to make a good pass on the 32, but got clogged up.
Kyle had a run off turn 4.
Yeah, Logano shut the door there down into 1.
Fresher tires and a faster race car against clean air and the race lead. Elliott Sadler on Austin Dillon for 3rd.
He's going to try to make that move, but we've seen how difficult it is to make that inside pass. Sadler's going to clear those. No match there with those 2 tires for Elliott Sadler.
And the reports in pit road complaining about the handling of this 54 car tonight. Yet he's led most of the race. Now watching him try to find a way around Joey Logano in these late laps.
I think he's being patient. I really do. I think he's not pushing the issue just yet because he thinks that he almost knows that these tires are going to be better and overcome this.
Yeah, and I think he might be waiting on that car to tighten up a little bit too, because we've heard him talk about having a loose race car. They made a track car adjustment on that last stop, but if his car's still loose, trying to get down there on the inside, here's his opportunity right here. That's what he was waiting for, a mistake. That's the easiest way to make a pass when that driver makes that little bit of an error.
I think another thing is he looked at his mirror and saw Elliott Sadler coming in that 11 and figures, I got to go now.
Yes, sir.
What happened, I said a mistake. Logano didn't really make a mistake. That's just all his car would do with the grip level of those tires that he has on there right now versus what Kyle Busch has. He's still driving it for everything it's worth, but just that little bit of a slip is all the opening that Kyle Busch needed.
Remember Elliott Sadler in the 11 car, white and red, running second earlier in this race. When he spun out at lap 50 by himself basically in turn 2, an ill-handling car got away. Somehow managed not to hit the inside wall, fell back to 11th, roared back up to 4th place by the next set of pit stops. Now he's trying to take second away from Joey Logano.
Yeah, he's trying to do that. And right behind him, here comes Brian Vickers, who's had a big break tonight, too. Had to make a green flag pit stop earlier than everyone else. Looked like he was going to be in trouble. Got his way back up there. He's got 4 tires on and in that 4th spot right now. So big points nights for these 2 drivers battling.
Trouble for Trevor Bayne.
Next time, don't worry about putting tires on it. Just get that quarter panel back on. You get a caution calling off.
Yeah, they'd already had contact, repair. Looks like he may have had some more. Yeah, he's real loose. Gets into the wall again with that battered right rear corner.
It's all the way back at lap 23 when Trevor Bayne crossed paths with a lap car and tore the right rear up on that car. They put that patch on the right rear, and now that patch is knocked loose and flapping in the breeze.
Elliott Sadler now taking 2nd spot. He's not too far behind Kyle either.
Austin Dillon trying to hang on. 7th place against Regan Smith. Remember, Dillon, one of the 2 that did not pit under that last caution. And Sam Hornish Jr. in that 12 looked so strong in the opening run of the race. Ran up into the top 5 from his 9th starting spot. And right now, Sam finds himself back in 9th place.
Yeah, just never really has been able to get the car any better than what they had at start. Matter of fact, it may have gotten a little bit contact there.
I'll tell you, Austin Dillon did a good job not crashing in that situation.
Takes advantage.
Hard to catch a break this late in the race, isn't it? He's
not going to get much this time. Everybody, especially with those tires, the goods are going to get knowing that that 3 car doesn't have any. Sadler's been a little quicker the last few laps than what Kyle Busch has.
May come down to lap traffic. Who catches which slower car, where, and how?
And there's going to be plenty of it, probably.
Well, these spotters up on the roof are real busy right now. They're trying to get all of these slow cars to give way.
10 to go right here. 11 got stolen.
I think Elliott will probably gain 3 or 4 tenths on that one. Actually, he lost a little bit of time.
Go figure. Vickers 20, trying to get around Logano 22.
Yeah, that 32 car's coming. I've been watching his lap times, and he's going to be on these guys. Kyle Larson has had a great race. For his first start as a rookie, I'm impressed.
I'll have to be one, too. And you brought it up earlier, I believe it was in our qualifying effort today, talking about someone like a Denny Hamlin that came in. When you see drivers that come here for the first time and perform like this, that's people you keep your eye on. And we've talked about Kyle Larson, going to be a star. Jeff Burton said it. We know that that's going to happen, but this is proof of all of that.
Eight laps to go. Now, talking about Matt Kenseth dropping back, and we are talking about Kyle Larson here. That is Matt coming back up on Kyle Larson. Watch this from a few laps ago.
Whoa, now. Yep, that's one way to take the spot.
And now we know why he's running so fast to stay in front of that 18.
Looks like Matt got by. I'm surprised that Matt Kenseth isn't better on this run right here. He's had a good car all night. This is probably his worst run.
Well, he came off the pit lane in the opening laps after the restart. Got shoved, tangled up there with Larson, lost those spots, and trying to make up that lost ground.
I tell you, we've heard them talk about all the Gibbs cars in particular, even though they've been the class of the field here, but all of them on that looser side. And when you get back in traffic, we saw Kyle, even when they had that bad pit stop, taking some laps to work his way back forward. When you have that loose race car, it's hard to be as aggressive as you need to make passes.
Wow, look at that 18-car dart around. That's a great look at that.
It shows you how hard it is to navigate this track. It's a tough racetrack.
Well, 5 to go here for the race leader. And Elliott Sadler's charge toward Kyle Busch has stopped, and in fact, he's given up some ground.
Not keeping the lap cars at the right place. Hey, you never know what's going to happen. You just keep hitting your marks. You beat him 2 laps prior. Make good safe here.
Elliott offering his assessment, and the assessment coming back from Brett Griffin in the spotter stand.
Yeah, and Kyle doesn't. He's going to have some lap cars to run up on, but nothing that should really give him a significant amount of problems. So you see Kyle Larson making the pass back on Matt Kenseth once again.
Oh, boy.
Oh, hold on. Oh,
there's a strike. Ever so lightly.
Larson keeping out of the wall down here in turn 3.
And Regan Smith, the 7th, the championship leader, watching this go on and saying, no, not right in front of me. Not this close to the finish. No.
He'd like to have those 2 points by getting by those guys, but he also knows that he doesn't need to get involved in a crash here.
Right. Well, that all settles out. Back there for 5th, 6th, and 7th. What can you say about Kyle Busch? And this Joe Gibbs team partnering back up together. Already won 4 times this season. In command of what would be a 5th win in what's only the 9th race of the season. And Kyle didn't even run last week at Talladega.
I know, and he's been complaining about his car all night long.
Knows what he wants. And one more lap.
White flag, one more.
From victory. Joe Gibbs Racing has won 6 of the last 7 here in Darlington. That is a record of accomplishment to be envious of. Final corners for Kyle Busch. Some lap traffic in the way, but no pressure from behind. His 5th win of this season and his 56th in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Kyle Busch wins it at Darlington.
Nice job, guys. Way to go, team. Way to go.
First, second, third, and 5th for Joe Gibbs Racing tonight.
Yeah, Joey Logano able to hang on there for that 4th spot. The only one keeping them from sweeping those top 4, as they did in qualifying, and ran a lot of the race that way. Check that out.
Yes, sir. Good job to you. Thank you.
You know, you sit here and you talk about Kyle sometimes, and when you talk about the talent level and the accomplishments, the segment of those who aren't Kyle Busch fans get all riled up. But I mean, really, look at him. He's won 5 times this season already. He's the all-time leading winner in this series. And they never get complacent. They stay hungry, and they just keep going and going and going against very tough competition.
Yeah, I think that's the amazing thing about this year. We talked at Daytona about how the competition level is going to be so high, and it is. But he just takes things to another level, with these cars, the horsepower, the handling of this. He knows what he's looking for, and he just does a better job on the racetrack than everyone else. Whether you like him or not, you have to give him credit for just being outstanding.
Little Friday night smoke show. And a Darlington encore coming up. Like it or not, he got it done again. Kyle Busch, the winner tonight in Darlington.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Darlington is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side.
The VFW Sport Clips Help a Hero 200 is over at Darlington. Very speedy race. And Kyle Busch is just rolling on. Comparing his numbers to start this season with the numbers of the season, he won 13 times in a campaign. Kyle already ahead of that pace so far. He's in victory lane one more time.
Kyle, you told us in pre-race that this every lap would be interesting to race and to watch, and it was certainly for you. How did you get to victory lane given the adversity in the middle of the race?
All right, you just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you come here to do, and that's just to work hard and do what you can each and every lap that you're out on the racetrack to try to come back from something that happens, you know. But guys gave me a great race car, and there through the middle part of the race, really starting to get loose, and you know, we had to make a lot of adjustments to it, but this Monster Energy Camry tonight was awesome. Adam and the guys did a great job. Really appreciate Monster Toyota and Nationwide. They're awesome, of course, and Nationwide Insurance, JGR Engines. Mark Cronquist did a great job tonight for us, and appreciate the fans as well too. You know, give them a little treat tonight.
You were running down Joey, and then he about lost it off it too. How'd you miss him?
He about lost it. Well, he had plenty of control the first time he got sideways. The second time he got sideways, he was a little bigger, but you know, these tires are really going away here. They fall off. It's sort of like the old Darlington. I think we're kind of back to that. And, you know, you just got to persevere. We had 4 fresh tires, and he was out there on old tires. So I knew he was going to come back to me eventually. So I just kept trying to run him a little bit hard, keep him trying to push his stuff and get loose. He did, and I finally was able to sneak by him there a little bit, you know. So great race, I thought. And, you know, there were some moments there with Kenseth and I racing each other. And I thought he was just playing with me for a little bit, and then I got by him. You know, and then I drove away from him, and then he came back to me and caught me back. And so there was some fun racing, some coming and some going a little bit, and just, you know, sort of the accordion effect. But great night. Thank you, guys.
Joe Gibbs Racing and Kyle Busch in victory lane from the pole, just like they were in 2011, Alan.
And, you know, Dave brings up a point. Kyle was so strong so much of this night, it's almost easy to forget that they had the problem on the pit stop that kicked him back to 6th at that one point. And he rallied back to take the lead and eventually led 107 of the 147 laps tonight. He's got the hang of this victory celebration stuff, you think? A lot more post-race still coming from Darlington.